I'm Ling and I'm turning my whole apartment into a home art studio. I'd really like to do a bit of a reset today because I just got back from a trip to Japan and I haven't really properly started unpacking. So while I go through everything, I would love to share all of the pottery and art books that I found along the way. And I feel like there was just so much inspiration on this trip. Now that I'm back, I'm also planning to start filming weekly videos from my studio, and I'm really excited to share more of the creative process. But this week I do have quite a lot of different projects on, and I thought it would be a good time to just reset the art studio, to properly start planning everything and to slowly bring it all together. I basically got back from the trip and went straight into work and photography. I even shot a whole wedding the day after I got back. And at the end of this week, Jace and I will be shooting some more events together. One of them is going to be a sunset session for a couple in Sydney, and I'd love to share some of our favourite spots near home for photography. This week I also need to finish a painting I've been working on. It's such an exciting thing because someone has ordered my first painting commission, and it's kind of wild to say because I only started oil painting at the beginning of this year. It's so uplifting to know that someone liked my style enough to want one of my original pieces in their home. And I have a few more days to work on it, but I do need to deliver it to the customer by the end of this week. In the meantime, I'm also going to be shipping out some of your print orders, which is so exciting to say. Honestly, thank you so much if you've ordered one. It really supports my whole creative journey, and I actually just can't wait for them to get to you so you can see them in person. Now that I'm back, I also get to test out some fragrance samples that arrived while we were away. They're for a homewares collection that I'm making with my friend Sarah, and later this week, Jace and I will test them in candles and reed diffusers. There's also a few other things that I need to catch up on and a lot of places that I need to get to in Sydney this week. And when I put it all together, it's starting to sound like a lot, but at the same time, it's so nice to be home and I'm really ready to just enjoy the whole process behind everything that I get to make. So today, I'm just going to start by booking a car to get to our shoots later this week. And this video is sponsored by KINTO, which is a car hire app that's been perfect for my small business. In the KINTO app, you can choose a car that suits your gear and schedule, and you can hire it for an hour, a week, or all the way up to a year. We shoot at sunset a lot, and one of the best things is that some of the Toyota dealerships and pickup locations are available 24/7. You also don't need to refill the tank if there's more than a quarter of fuel, so even if we have a late event, we can always return the car after dark and don't need to rush back. If you want to book your next car hire with KINTO, I'll leave a link and a discount code below where you can get $50 off your first booking. It's starting to get a lot colder as Sydney goes into winter, so I'm bringing all of our warm things back into the living room. I'm trying to warm up with yoga every morning still, and Jace has been making a huge pot of ginger tea every day. It's so cozy, and we like it with a lot of ginger, red dates, and goji berries. Starting the day like this has been the perfect way to move into the next season, and I feel like it's a good time to settle in and get ready for all of the plans I have coming up. I left everything in a bit of a mess, and I want to clear out this area of the apartment. I'm sorting through a lot of boxes with crafts and painting supplies, and I'll eventually move all of this into the cupboards. I also want to freshen everything up and water all of the plants because some of them started wilting while I was away. It's feeling a lot tidier, and I finally had the chance to sort through things that I left for too long. We have this gift for our friends, which was too big to take to their wedding. It's a print of a Klimt painting, which we have a copy of as well, and I'd love to finally deliver it to them later this week. I have this card to go with it, which is from Kami paper. These have all been silk screened by hand, and it's the same store in Melbourne that I get my photo albums from. It's actually a good time for cleansing because we also recently celebrated Duan Ujie, which is the Dragon Boat Festival. It's one of my Gunggong's favorite holidays, and he gave us a lot of sticky rice, which has been super homey and warm as well. I brought out these dining sets for our family meals, but I also wanted to show you some of the ceramics that I picked up on a recent trip to Japan. Jason and I went to Ishigaki and Okinawa, and I learned a lot more about pottery on the islands. I really loved seeing the Ryukyuan styles. A lot of the textures and color palettes are very earthy, and if you go back hundreds of years, the ceramic practices here were also shaped by trade and materials from China and Korea, with a lot of styles and glazing techniques being shared. There's a particular type of glaze that's very unique to Ishigaki Island. We visited a studio that uses it to make this vibrant blue, which is found in the rocks here. If you ever visit Ishigaki, this is one of the kilns that we really loved. The artist there told us that this one bowl took 40 years to make. This is the last bag that I need to unpack from Japan, and it's also the most exciting one because it's filled with the ceramics that we picked up on our trip. I need to show you everything today because we're gifting most of it to friends that we'll hopefully see next week. But we did get a few small pieces for home as well. Oh, these ones are actually my favorite thing that we found on the trip. If I can find another one. They are a pair of shisa, and on Okinawa they basically sit on every rooftop or doorway to protect houses. My parents actually have an orange pair in their home, and I find the design so interesting because these were brought over from China to Okinawa in the Ming Dynasty, which was during the 15th century. Now that our apartment is a little bit less cluttered, I'm going to find a place to put these. They're meant to sit together like this and face the entrance, so they could probably go on our coffee table looking at the door to the apartment. So our friends Annie and Dan always bring back these really thoughtful gifts from their own trips, and I might have even mentioned them in a previous video because they've gotten us things like a journal, which we use all the time to keep a list of memories. And when we saw these in Okinawa, we thought they would go really well with our friend's apartment. They have a lot of darker dinnerware and blue in their apartment, and I just thought this earthy texture and natural pattern would fit in perfectly. We spent a whole day looking at dozens of studios in the Pottery Village in Okinawa, and I knew I couldn't bring a lot back, but I did see these bowls, which I just find so beautiful. They have the most stunning green glaze and light leaf pattern on them, so we decided to get one set for home and another set that I can give to my sister. While we were in Japan, Jason and I also visited a lot of different art galleries, and I chose a few art books to bring back. I really love keeping these on our coffee table, and I think it's such a nice way to start each morning with small points of inspiration, especially if you're looking at styles that you don't normally create in. I think it can just start to open up so many new ideas. So this is one of my favorite books from one of the exhibitions. There was a really interesting exhibition with paintings by artists who had travelled overseas in the last century. They were usually painting in quite a traditional Nihonga style, but visiting places around China, India, Egypt, and Europe, and I really loved seeing what took their eye. I feel like I'm always trying to see as much art as I possibly can, and I've always loved learning more about traditional crafts, but it has been a huge focus recently while I'm planning to make my own collection of homewares too. I still have a lot more to share from the trip to Japan, including some pieces from some of my favorite kilns, but I feel like it's a bigger story to tell, and I kind of want to make a separate video in the next few weeks unboxing all of these and showing you every single piece of pottery in daily home rituals. While we were gone, some of the fragrance samples for our homewares brand arrived. I'm just opening the packages and sorting through them today, but I should have time later this week to test them out, and I'll show you how they go in candles. But for the next few days, Jason and I are going to be out photographing a lot of events, and we need to make sure that all of our gear is ready and charged. We also went to pick up our car from KINTO. The platform is digital and keyless, so you can book and unlock the car with just the app. We're so lucky to have places like this near home, and I really love being able to visit them with our camera. I usually try to spend as much time as I can outside or creating during the day, and I like to take my time editing the photos after sunset. So I can't really share too much from our photography sessions other than the location, because I do really need to wait until we deliver the final album to the client. For weddings, I'm often shooting for other studios as well, so I don't always have access to the full gallery. But even if I do, because it's just Jason and I shooting, it does take quite a few weeks to edit the whole album. So in the meantime, maybe I can catch you up on some of our future plans. I think the last time we chatted in one of my earlier studio vlogs, I was planning a lot of calls and trying to figure out if I would be shooting weddings later in the year. And since then, every single one has been confirmed. So I am going to have quite a busy summer when people start having more events. And I actually just can't believe some of the opportunities that have come out of starting photography. I've been thinking about it a lot because there are so many things that I really couldn't have predicted when I first picked up the camera, and I'm just so grateful that I get to be able to capture other people's memories. One of the shoots that got confirmed is actually in Singapore, so later this year I'll be traveling there to photograph a wedding. And I think since starting this channel, this whole idea has come up again and again because I've seen some of the most heartwarming comments about people who are also interested in starting something new. If you've ever left a comment like that, I really appreciate it because I feel like it takes a lot to share that intention. I've also had so many conversations like that with friends, and I feel like it can be hard for anyone to say that they want to start something, especially when we can't really see where it will go, and that can come with a lot of unknowns. But I also think it's such an exciting part of it, and if you do have the feeling that you want to try something new, I think that you just have to follow it. Everything will grow if you give it space, and so many things could come from starting, which you might not even be able to predict right now. This week I also need to finish my very first painting commission. I'm not sure if you saw the jar of Lauganma earlier in the video, but someone has actually requested a 1 meter tall painting of the chili oil. The canvas arrived before we left for Japan, and I've been so excited to come back and keep working on it. So far, I've spent a few weeks slowly building up the paint on tiles in the background, and I started working my way up to the portrait on the label. This week I'm adding the very final touches in reflections on the glass and characters on her apron. I'll have a whole other video about the process and story behind this custom painting, but now that it's dry, we can deliver it to the customer. I'm also going to be sending out 2 fine art prints. They're of my painting of wild irises and the moon, and we have an A2 going all the way to Switzerland and an A4 going to the US. I feel so grateful that I've been able to share my art this way, and if you've supported the journey at all, I really can't thank you enough. After work yesterday, Jason and I had some time to test out the fragrances that arrived before. These probably need a full week to set, but I think they should be dry enough today to at least test the fragrances. Oh my gosh. Okay, this has come out really well. This first candle is a floral and woody fragrance, and I was inspired to make this after visiting the Hanok village in Seoul. We picked flowers that are grown in the area and mixed them with some really deep woods like the buildings there. It's come out perfectly. It's using a honeysuckle and magnolia, and we went for one that's a little bit less sweet, but I think it's still a really nice sweet floral fragrance. So I can let the supplier know what kinds of woods we were mixing it with and hopefully recreate this in our own custom oil. Okay, so this next candle is a jasmine and tea fragrance. We're kind of running out of wax at this point, but this one is really important because it's my favorite in the whole collection. We made one recently and gave it to Sarah to try, and she really loved the balance after burning it for a while at home. I think all of our friends like this one the most as well. So the original one we made is in here, and it's just a really clean, slightly citrusy, fresh jasmine. We're basically trying to replicate what we've already made, but making it with just one supplier. So I'm really keen to see if this one worked out. Oh, it's really nice. It's actually really close to the original one, but I think our original one has a bit more citrus in it, so we might just need to change the balance a bit. But I would definitely say that it's on the right track, and it's blending really well with the jasmine and black tea. So I'm going to just make some notes to go back to them about remixing the oil slightly. My friend and I have decided to set a launch date for our homewares brand, hopefully at the end of this year. Now that I'm home, I am really looking forward to planning it more. I also can't believe how many things I've been able to create this week, especially for other people in a painting and photography sessions. I taught myself photography with Jace over the last few years, and I only recently decided that I wanted to try painting too. It's just so nice to know that everything has been able to progress like this so far. We've also been really lucky to have a bright winter sun, so we went to this beautiful national park at the end of the week. If you watch this, thank you so much for spending this time here. I am planning to make weekly videos from my home art studio, so it would be great if you could subscribe to this channel. But in the meantime, I hope it's just been a really nice place to unwind.